Hey guys, we're going to go review our one-step equations for you. So let's review. So if you're still confused, that's completely fine. Remember to keep in mind that this is a new content. So don't beat yourself too much about if you don't understand it. It's completely fine. Brand new. So we're going to start up here with number 1, and at any time, do pause the video. You have the option to pause the video anytime at all. So I have x minus 6 equals 14. I always want to get the x by itself, or the variable. So I'm going to write up here, always get x by itself. That is my end goal anytime that I'm dealing with one-step equations, or multi-step or two-step, which we'll get to later. So the first thing I always need to do is draw a line going down from my equal sign. The reason you need to do that is because, remember, think of it like a scale. I need to make sure both sides of the equation are the same. So our final rule that you remember is what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So that means if I am going to add one side, I need to add it to the other side to keep it even. Highlight, star it, do something super big, and remember, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I'm going to highlight my notes so I know that that's super important to remember. So now I'm going to start. I drew my line, boom, need to get x by itself, and what I do to one side, I need to do to the other. So I have a negative 6. The opposite of a negative, or subtraction, is addition. So in order to cancel this out, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. The reason I'm adding them to both sides is because I'm doing the opposite of subtraction, which is addition. What's going to happen there is it's going to cancel out. And all I'm left with on the left side, my x, is x. Now 14 plus 6 I can do. That's going to be 20. Now I have x equals 20. So if I was totally unsure that, I don't know if I added 14 and 6 right, I can count on my fingers or draw out a number line, or I can simply plug this back in. So since x equals something, which is 20, I can just put a 20 over that x. So I know that 20 minus 6 does in fact equal 14. So I know that it's correct. You don't have to do it to all of them, but if you're unsure, double check. So now I'm going to start with the second one. I'm going to draw my line straight down the middle of the equal sign. I need to get x by itself. So sometimes they'll trick you and not have x first. I'm getting you used to seeing that x doesn't have to be first. Okay? I know that it's a negative 13 though. So the opposite of a negative, or subtraction, is what? Addition, right? So I'm going to add 13 in order to cancel it out on my left side. But what I do to my left side, I have to do to my right side. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. These cancel out, and I'm left with just the x on this side. 6 plus 3 is 9. 2 plus 1 is 3. So I have 39. Take a moment, breathe, and get ready for the next two. So now I'm going to do division. This says x divided by 6 equals negative 3. Well, I need to figure out what x is. But first, I need to get it by itself. So I'm going to draw my line. And what I need to do, The opposite of division is multiplication. So I need to multiply both sides by 6. The reason why is because these two will cancel out. Remember, there's an invisible 1 under here, so I can cross multiply. So all I'm left with is x equals, and remember our rule, a negative times a positive, they're opposite signs. So I need to multiply them. So I know a negative times a positive is a negative. 3 times 6 is what? 18. So now I have negative 18 as my x. And you can divide 18 by 6, I'm sorry, negative 18 by 6, and get a negative 3 as my answer. So this is correct. I did my math correctly. Now let's look at number 4. Draw my line. Remember, when a number is touching a letter, it means multiplication. It means they're right next to each other. Multiplication, marriage, they're together. They need to be separated. So, in order to get rid of this negative 2, the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. Make sure you carry the negative 2 with it. That negative is attached to that 2. So it has to be carried over with it. These cancel out. What I'm left with is x on this side. And I have a positive divided by a negative. Since they're opposite signs, I know my answer is going to be negative. 24 divided by 2 is what? 12. I can double check my answer by plugging negative 12 in for x. So I have negative 2 times negative 12. Negative times a negative is a positive, so that does give me positive 24. So it checks out. Get ready for the next 4 problems. So now I have my next 4 problems. I want you to try these 4, pause the video, try the 4 by yourself, and see if you get the same answer as me. So I'm going to draw my line straight down from the equal sign. Since I am dealing with a positive 16, because there's no negative in front of it, so I know it's positive, I need to do the opposite, which is subtract. So I need to subtract 16 from both sides. So now I'm dealing with 2 negatives. How this is written out is like this, negative 12 minus 16. If you can remember that anytime you see this, it's going to become more negative. Remember the keep change rule? Keep this negative 12 minus to a positive and change this positive 16 into a negative. So I'm starting at negative 12 and I have negative $12 in my bank account. I am going down negative $16 because I really wanted a new Xbox, so I really needed another one. So I know that I have negative $28 that I owe to the bank. And these would cancel. And I would bring down my X. That X equals negative 28. Let's do the next one. Draw my line. I have a positive 9, similar to the one we just did. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So I have minus 9. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I know I'm dealing with both negatives. So I'm going to add these 2 negatives together. I'm getting more negative. So I have negative 3 plus negative 9, which is going to give me what? Negative 12. You're right. Bring down your x. You can bring down your x first and then solve the other side too. However you want to do it. Now let's get to these last 2 here. And then I want you to try Khan Academy and do some practice ones as well. Just type in to Khan Academy one-step equations and it'll give you practice problems so you can practice more. So I know I'm dealing with division here. This is x divided by -6 equals -9. So what's the opposite? Multiplication, you're right. So I'm going to multiply, remember to carry the negative, both sides by -6. These cancel. I'm left with x equals, what's a negative times a negative? Positive. So what's 6 times 9? 54. You're right. So I have a positive 54. All right, let's do our last one. I want you to pause this one and try it yourself if you haven't already. So I'm going to draw my line. I know that these two, this 7 and this x, are married or multiplied together. I want you guys to remember anytime a number next to a letter is multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 7. Both of these cancel. I'm left with x equals, what's a negative divided by a positive? Opposite signs mean it's going to be negative. 49 divided by 7, sorry, negative 49 divided by 7 is -7. And there you go. Go back through if you're still confused, try the problems again. And if you are ready and confident, you can start with Khan Academy and doing your PFA. Have a great day, guys.